I did my presentation on dysentery. Basically, it's caused by either a parasite or bacteria, and the end result is diarrhea in which there's blood, pus, mucus, and abdominal pain. There's amoebic dysentery, which again is the parasite. It's a single-cell microscopic parasite, and then they have multiple bacteria dysentery. I've focused mainly on the Shigella. So the characteristics and causes of the parasitic, you'll find that in the hot climate tropical zones. I guess you hear it in like third world countries. It's found in the large intestine. It clings to and kills the cells of the colon, causing the pain and the discomfort in the blood and the pus. You get this by human waste. In the countries over there, they do a lot of farming with their own feces, like for for like different manure, and they also wash and bathe in the same vicinity that they use the restroom. So you're going to be infected after you ingest those feces with the parasites that are in the excrement, and washing your hands in the water and touching it, and eating where near your face, you're going to get that, and eating the food that's actually grown in the soil that was fertilized. For the characteristics and causes of the bacteria, and this bacteria is found all over the world. This penetrates the lining of the intestines, causing the swelling, ulcerations, severe diarrhea, the blood, and the pus. This one can also cause some flu-like symptoms, which is your nausea, vomiting, fevers, chills, even some fever. Again, this one is caused by human waste. This is your what you sometimes find in your restaurants for food poisoning. This is, again, ingestion of feces with the contaminated food and water, not washing your hands after you use the restroom, and that also spreads that. About every year, there are about 500 cases of shigellosis in the United States. It infects over 140 million people worldwide, kills about 600,000. Mostly that's the children and the elderly. That's the bacteria. And for the parasite, it occurs worldwide. Higher rates are found in the tropical and subtropics. About 5,000 to 10,000 cases are diagnosed each year in the U.S., leading to about 20 deaths. Basically, to diagnose this, they showed us they do stool samples. This is the most common. In those third world countries, they don't have this kind of technology, which it's not far advanced, but they just don't have it. And that's where you find a lot of your deaths. You have your physical examination by your physician, your blood tests, and ultrasound is if they start looking for the ulceration of your intestines or your colon for any abscesses that might occur. Treatment for the parasites, there's the anti-parasitic medications, and for your bacteria is the antibiotics. Those can pretty much get rid of it across the board. I didn't find a high incident rate of not being treated and not recovering. Again, it's basically in the third world countries where they don't have this kind of treatment that you'll find where it's severe cases and death. They did suggest Pepto-Bismol for the symptoms, no Imodium or anti-diarrhea because you do want that to come out, and hydrate. I started reading a lot of the problems, and that came from the hydration. You lose so much so fast, the water, that's where all of your symptoms are coming from, is the fever and the chills and the dehydration. So that was the biggest thing across the board through every website that I looked at and every book was just hydration. And that can be, your Gatorade, extra packs of electrolytes, and your water. So the duration and the prognosis, the bacteria dysentery symptoms begin within 2 to 10 days of the infection. For mild cases, it lasts up to about 8 days. Severe cases, about 6 weeks. Complications include, again, this is all from dehydration, is the delirium, convulsions, and coma. That's for very severe infections. The vast majority of infections are self-limited and resolve without treatment. We have a lot of bacteria in our intestines anyway, but and some of the cases they don't even show up on blood samples because we do have some of the bacteria. For parasitic dysentery, it's usually about 2 weeks, and that's the most frequent complication, is when the parasite spreads to the liver and it causes an abscess. If this ruptures, then the surgery is required, but generally all prognosis is good. I started reading, and one thing that kept on popping up was a term called traveler's diarrhea. And this, again, is people who go overseas to Asia, as well as Middle East, Africa, Mexico, Central and South America. They suggest that when you go to travel to these areas, you go ahead and see your physician to get a round of antibiotics that you would start taking when you get there, because we're not used to the water. And it helps with the symptoms when you start, and it'll help. The Shigella is, again, one of the ones that I read about that was mostly what you'll find all over across the board, and that basically is your bacteria that you find from not washing your hands in the restroom. So that's probably one of the bigger things. So, and that is about it. And there are my sources.